Now, I wanted to talk about another theory, which I think as you do your work could be helpful. So, I've decided that we at the Harvard Business School and a few other schools have messed up marketing in a bad way because we've taught principles that are not true. And the big one, we've taught that we need to listen and understand our customers. And what we've decided is understanding the customer is the wrong unit of analysis. Rather, we need to understand what causes your customer to buy a product or service. And that is not that they buy it because they are your customer. That's a self-fulfilling something. But rather, well, let me give you, as you can see, I'm Clayton Christensen. I just turned 65, unfortunately. I am 6 feet 7 inches tall, unfortunately. I can't buy food for my clothing for myself as a result of that. I married a wonderful woman, fortunately. The fifth of our 5 children, Katie, unfortunately decided to go to Columbia. And I have all kinds of other characteristics and attributes, but none of my characteristics or attributes have yet caused me to buy the New York Times today. There might be a correlation between my characteristics and the propensity to buy the Times, but they don't cause me to buy it. Nor do our characteristics or attributes cause us to buy any product or service. Now, what causes us to buy products or services is, every day, darn it, stuff happens to me. Jobs arise in my life, and I have to get these jobs done. And some of these jobs are incremental, year-to-year, day-to-day jobs that I have to address. Others of these jobs might change my whole life. But whenever I find myself facing a job that I have to get done, I then have to find something to hire to get the job done. And if I understand what the job is, then I can understand what's the causal mechanism that causes them to buy the product, and that helps me market better. So when we were trying to wrestle with this a number of years ago, we learned that McDonald's was trying to increase the sales of their milkshakes. As you know, McDonald's are very sophisticated marketing people. They had data up the gazoo, and they had a demographic profile of every client that bought one product versus another. And so they had a demographic profile of the quintessential milkshake customer. I fit the profile perfectly, so they involved me. And they'd invite us into conference rooms and say, is there anything we could do to the milkshake so that you will buy more of them? And we give them very clear feedback. We then improve the milkshake and improve it on dimensions that they pointed out, and it had absolutely no impact on sales or profits whatsoever. So we came back and we said, the reason why is we don't understand. There's a job out there somewhere near here that arises in people's lives, and if the customer find themselves needing to get that job done, to get the job done, it causes them to hire a milkshake to do the job. We need to understand what the job is. So we stood in a restaurant one day for 18 hours and just took very careful data about what time did they buy the milkshake, what were they wearing, were they alone, Did he buy other food with it? Did they eat it in the restaurant or get in the car and drove off with it? And it turned out that nearly half of the milkshakes were sold before 8:30 in the morning. It was the only thing they bought. They always were alone, and they always got in the car and drove off with it. And so we came back the next day so that we could confront these people as they were emerging with their milkshake in hand. And in language that they could understand, I'd ask, I got trouble with your behavior here, excuse me. What job arose in your life that caused you to come here to hire a milkshake to get it done? And as they would struggle to answer, we'd say, well, think about the last time you were in the same situation, needing to get the same job done, but you didn't come here to hire a milkshake. What did you hire? And it turned out that they all had the same job to do. That is, they had a long and boring drive to work. And they just needed something to do while they were driving to keep them engaged with life. One hand had to be on the wheel, but gosh, somebody gave me another hand and there's nothing in it. And I just need something to do while I'm driving to be engaged. So what do I hire when I don't hire a milkshake, huh? Well, I never thought about it, but last Friday I hired a banana to do the job. Take my word for it. Never hire bananas. They're gone in less than a minute and a half. Yeah, I do. I hire donuts, but my wife gets mad at me and I can never eat just one. And I do bagels sometimes, but they're so dry and tasteless. Then I have to steer the car with my knees while I put the cream cheese on. And then if somebody calls me, I have 3 problems in 2 hands. That just doesn't work. One guy said, I hired a Snickers bar once, but I felt so guilty I've never hired Snickers again. But let me tell you, when I come here to hire a milkshake from McDonald's, it takes me 23 minutes to suck it up that thin little straw. I don't know what the ingredients are. All I know is by 10 o'clock I'm still full, and it fits right in my cup holder. And it turns out that the milkshake does the job better than any of the competitors. And the competitors are not just Burger King milkshakes, but they are bananas and donuts and bagels and Snickers bars and coffee and a few other things. And that was the job before 8:30 in the morning. Then in the afternoon, it was hired for a very different job. And that is by parents who just want to be sure that their children love them. And the milkshake is irrelevant to the job. And Peter Drucker said this better than I did when he said the customer rarely buys what the company thinks it's selling him. And I just wanted to offer that as you, again, use your power and the marvelous ability you have with data, try to understand what your customer does with your data and what's really the job that they hire data to do for them.